Hello.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Seguin Committee of Adjustment, March the 13th. We will convene the meeting now. I will require a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Lee, seconded by Wibb. That the Committee of Adjustment for the Corporation of the Township of Seguin hereby convenes at 4 p.m. on Wednesday, March the 13th, 2024. All in favor? Carried. The Committee of Adjustment hereby convenes as a public meeting as per the Planning Act. Applicants and the public can speak at the meeting. When asked who wishes to speak to an application, please raise your hand, state your name and address, and direct all comments through me. Notice of decisions will be sent to the applicants and to the public if requested. Only the prescribed persons as per the Planning Act may appeal a decision or condition of approval within 20 days after the decision. So I will ask for a mover and seconder for approval of the agenda for today. Moved by Lee, seconded by Lynn. That the Committee of Adjustment for the Corporation of the Township of Seguin hereby approves the agenda for the March 13th, 2024 hearing. All in favor? Carried. So we are having a change of staff. I will just quickly ask Mr. Algie to speak to this since it's I think the third or fourth time since we're rotating staff. So maybe just a little bit of background to fill the committee in on where we're going.
Through you, Mr. Chair, and thank you. This is my brainchild, so it's right that I can speak to it. The idea was to divorce the secretary treasurer and the planner role, so that way the planner doesn't have to wear two hats. It's a bit confusing, and when you're trying to prepare and present professional reports and also being the secretary treasurer and doing all the paperwork at the same time. So original idea was the senior planner was no longer going to be the secretary treasurer and it was going to be the planning tech. Then we had a staff change where our senior planner left and now we have an acting senior planner and our planning tech is now our acting planner. So that almost became undone immediately. So now the idea is Ashley is going to be the acting secretary treasurer. So the planners can focus on making sure that they know what's next in the reports and just wearing one hat versus having to do two jobs at the same time, essentially. So it's more or less siloing responsibilities.
Okay, thank you. With that, I think we'll go ahead and I will ask for a mover and seconder for a resolution to appoint Ashley as the secretary treasurer. Or moved, please. Moved by, who we got? Wibb. And Lynn, seconding. That the Committee of Adjustment for the Corporation of the Township of Seguin hereby appoint Ashley Blow, Administrative Planning Assistant for the Township of Seguin as the committee's Secretary Treasurer. All in favor? And carried, and welcome Ashley. And as is common, we have a backup for Ashley, so I will ask for a mover and seconder to appoint the Deputy Secretary Treasurer. Moved by Lee. Seconded by Wibb. That the Committee of Adjustment for the Corporation of the Township of Seguin hereby appoint Melissa Profit, Planning Technician for the Township of Seguin, as the committee's Deputy Secretary Treasurer. All in favor? And carried. So we are approving the minutes now from last meeting. If I can have a mover and seconder, please, to bring that forward. Moved by Lee. seconded by Wibb. That the Committee of Adjustment for the Corporation of the Township of Seguin hereby accept as read and circulated the minutes of its last hearing that took place on Wednesday, February 14th, 2024. All in favor? Carried. I now ask the Committee of Adjustment for disclosure of any pecuniary interest with respect to today's applications. Does anyone have anything to declare for today? Okay, none heard. Then I will ask our new Secretary Treasurer to introduce the first application for today, please, which is, I believe, Snyder and Karen Sulch. Ashley?
Okay, the purpose of minor variance application A-2024-0003 Snyder is to construct a one-story, one-slip boathouse with an attached boat port on the subject lands. The following variances are being requested: an increase in lot coverage within 60 meters of the shoreline, an increase in lot coverage for the entire property, and an increase in boathouse width. Correspondence in support of the application was received from the MTO.
Thank you, Madam Secretary Treasurer. Does anyone wish to speak to this application? Any representatives available today? Yeah, please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Chair and committee members. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present to you. My name is Lauren Arsenault. I'm a planner with Morgan Planning and Development. And I have prepared a PowerPoint presentation. I'd like to share my screen, please. Can
Okay,
everybody see that?
we have your screen. Yes, go ahead.
Great, thanks. Morgan Planning and Development have prepared a planning justification report on behalf of the owners of the subject property 181 Highway 632, and they are requesting the replacement of an existing boathouse and attached dock. The subject property is located on the north shore of Cameron Bay in Lake Rosso, approximately 1.5 kilometers southwest from the settlement area of Rosso. The subject property has approximately 1.5 acres total lot area and 74 meters of frontage onto Lake Rosso. The property is currently developed with a single detached dwelling with attached deck, shed, as well as a boathouse and dock, which are subject to this application, and the subject property is privately serviced. The purpose of the application is to allow for the replacement of an existing one-story, one-slip boathouse and attached dock. The application seeks relief from provisions related to lot coverage and maximum permitted length and width for a boathouse on a lot having between 60 and 90 meters of frontage. Specifically, the application seeks relief from section 6.3, table 6.2 to allow a maximum lot coverage of 8.3% within the 60 meters of the shoreline, whereas 7.25% would be permitted, and a maximum total lot coverage of 7.5%, whereas 7.25% is permitted. As well, section 428(1)J, table 4.4, a maximum boathouse width of 11.89 meters, whereas 11 meters is permitted. So here's an excerpt from the site plan, which shows the existing boathouse and dock footprint and the proposed redesign. The proposed design will resort in a shorter dock width, which will bring the dock structure into compliance with the required maximum shoreline frontage occupied by in-water or shoreline structures and facilities. So if you can see my cursor here, this dotted outline here is the existing docking structure that comes all the way down here, which is much wider than what's being proposed, which is a more compact built form. So here's a look at the existing boathouse on the left and the attached dock. Excuse me, you'll see there's two slips on the dock here and then under the boathouse. And on the right are elevation renderings of the proposed new boathouse. The design of the boathouse includes a second boat slip, which is not enclosed within the boathouse. However, it would be considered a boat port, as is required by the township zoning bylaw. So you can see here is the slip that is covered. As you can see, the profile of the boathouse is angled such that the higher roof line is facing the higher elevation along the shoreline. Here are some further elevation drawings, views from the east and west. The proposed height is in compliance with the zoning bylaw. Views from the north and south. The design features a dormer to let natural light into the interior of the structure. In formulating the planning rationale for the minor variance application, Morgan Planning and Development considered the 4 tests, which are outlined in the accompanying planning justification report. Morgan Planning and Development is of the opinion that the proposed development is minor in nature, is desirable for the appropriate development of the subject property, meets the general intent and purpose of the township zoning bylaw and official plan. And I'm available to answer any further questions you have regarding the proposed variance. Thank you for your time and attention, and we would respectfully request committee approve the application and conditions as outlined in staff's report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lauren. Questions from committee? Okay. Last call, questions, comments? Glenn, any questions on this one?
No,
Okay,
fine, thanks.
then I will ask for a mover and seconder, please, to bring this application to vote. Moved by Lee. Seconder, please. Wibb. So moved by Lee, seconded by Wibb, that the Committee of Adjustment hereby approve variance application A-2024-0003-H Snyder to demolish an existing one-story, one-slip boathouse and dock on the subject lands and construct a new one-story, one-slip boathouse with an attached boat port and dock on the subject lands. The following variances to zoning bylaw 2006-125 are being requested. Section 6.3, Table 6.3, maximum lot coverage within 60 meters of the shoreline. Permitted is 7.25%. Proposed is 8.3% for a variance of 1.05%. Section 6.3, Table 6.3, maximum lot coverage, 7.25% is permitted. 7.52% is proposed for a variance of 0.27%. Section 4.28.1J, Table 4.4, maximum boathouse width, 11 meters is permitted. 11.89 meters is proposed for a variance of 0.89 meters. Subject to the following conditions: that the extent of the variances will conform to that shown on the sketch plan submitted in the application, and that the owner applies for and obtains the required permits to demolish the existing boathouse and dock and to construct the boathouse, boat port, and dock within 3 years of the date of decision of the Committee of Adjustment. All in favor? And carried.
Thank you, committee.
The application has been approved. You will get a letter in the next few days notifying you of the decision, and the 20-day appeal period starts now.
All right, thank you, Madam Secretary. The next application, please.
The purpose of permission to expand application A-2024-0004-H Cruise is to demolish a legal non-conforming one-story, two-slip boathouse and to construct a new one-story, two-slip boathouse, and attached dock on the subject lands. The applicants are requesting relief for an increase in lot coverage within 60 meters of the shoreline and an increase in dock and boathouse projection. A letter in objection was received from Ian Draper and Terry McGurk.
Thank you. Who do we have in attendance for the application? Lauren, you're back. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair, and thanks to staff for their summary. I have another PowerPoint presentation if you'll just give me a minute to share my screen again. Everybody can see that?
Yes, we have you. Please go ahead.
Thank you. So Morgan Planning and Development prepared a planning justification report on behalf of the owners of the subject property 13 Cameron Road, and they are requesting the reconstruction and relocation of an existing one-story, two-slip boathouse. The subject property is located on the south shore of Cameron Bay in Lake Rosso, approximately 1 kilometer southwest from the settlement area of Rosso, and the property has approximately 1 acre of total lot area with 57.9 meters of frontage onto Lake Rosso. The property is currently developed with a single detached dwelling as well as a dock and boathouse, which are subject to this application, and the property is privately serviced. The application is seeking relief from section 428(1)J, table 4.4, the minimum lot frontage for a boathouse, and section 6.3, table 6.3, column 2, maximum lot coverage within 60 meters of the shoreline in the township zoning bylaw. Both the boathouse and the attached dock will be enlarged as part of the reconstruction, which contributes to the overall increase in lot coverage. Reconstruction and enlargement of the boathouse is required to accommodate the size of the property owner's watercraft. Additionally, relief is being sought to extend the projections of both the dock and boathouse. The boathouse and dock projection from the shoreline needs to be extended to ensure sufficient water depth to dock the watercraft. So here's a look at the zoning matrix outlining the specific provisions this application is seeking relief from in light gray and how the proposed structures would otherwise comply. I will note that the increase in lot coverage within the 60 meters from the shoreline is actually less than what was circulated in the notice. 11.28% was circulated. However, we are only requesting 10.59%. And that is just because of an error with calculating the extent of the rooftop deck overhang that was to be included in the lot coverage calculation. So we did work with staff to ensure that calculation was corrected on our end. And with that in mind, the increase over existing conditions would only represent 1.69% increase, or roughly 52 meters squared. The boathouse projection from the shoreline and maximum length of the dock are both capped at 15 meters. However, the water depth at the 15-meter mark, I believe, is only around 3 meters deep. And so an increased projection has been requested to ensure both watercraft can be pulled into the boathouse without damaging the propeller. Here is an excerpt from the site plan, which shows the existing boathouse in hatched here. With the proposed boathouse overlaid, the reconstruction and relocation of the existing boathouse will bring the structure further into compliance with the minimum interior side yard projection. So as you can see here, this red dotted line represents, I believe it's a 9-meter interior side yard setback, which the existing boathouse does encroach on. And the proposed design here is well within those bounds. Here's a look at the existing 1-story, 2-slip boathouse on the left and attached dock. As you can see, the shoreline is dominated by mature vegetation, which the owners have maintained. On the right here, you can see elevation renderings of the proposed boathouse design. Here are elevation drawings, views from the east and west. The proposed height is increasing by 0.7 meters, but will still comply with the height requirements in the zoning bylaw. Here are views from the north and south. The existing boathouse has a rooftop deck, as does this design. And this design also features a dormer to let natural light into the interior of the structure, similar to the previous design you saw. Morgan Planning and Development have evaluated the proposed development under section 45(2) of the Planning Act, which committee is aware enables the granting of permissions by the committee for expansion of legal non-complying buildings. Under this section in the Planning Act, the approval authority must consider the following. Is the application desirable for the appropriate development of the land? And will the application result in any adverse impacts on surrounding lands? Morgan Planning and Development feel the proposed boathouse is in keeping with the scale and character of the existing waterfront development in Cameron Bay and Lake Rosso as a whole. The existing shoreline vegetation will be preserved through this application and is not anticipated to result in any adverse impacts on surrounding lands, including posing any navigational impacts, as the bay is wide enough to accommodate the proposed increase in projection. Morgan Planning and Development is of the opinion that the proposed reconstruction and relocation of the existing boathouse and attached dock is consistent with all applicable planning policies and considered good land use planning. Thank you very much for your attention, and we would respectfully request that committee approve the application with conditions as recommended in staff's report. And I'm available should you have any further questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Lauren, questions from committee members? Wib, go ahead, please.
I was curious as to whether Mr. Draper was online or in the area. It doesn't look like he is. It should be on. Yeah. I noticed in the letter of complaint, they referenced the current boathouse is already 11.75% over the new bylaws for maximum lot coverage. Is that actually accurate?
Yes, go ahead, please, Lauren.
Just address that for you, committee member, and just sort of provide a response to the letter of objection that was received. We did have a chance to review the letter, and it looks like Mr. Draper and Ms. McGurk are located directly across the bay and would have a sight line to the proposed boathouse and dock structure. They noted concerns with the increase in lot coverage, which, as I noted in the presentation, is actually 10.5%, not 11.7%. Which is a really minimal increase over the existing conditions. And I just wanted to note the majority of development on the property is buffered by that mature vegetation, with the exception of the boathouse. The boathouse will be increasing in size. However, the design is aesthetically pleasing, we feel, and in keeping with the scale and character of the existing waterfront development within the bay.
Thank you.
Lauren, while we have you, and also just addressing the concern from across the bay, if I'm looking at the boathouse from, I guess it would be the north elevation or from the lake, how much wider would it be actually than the existing structure? It doesn't look like it's significantly wider.
I will look into that for you. Just give me 1 second, please.
I did look for the number, but there are a lot of areas, but not a lot of dimensions, so that's why I'm asking. I know it's coming out, projecting out into the lake more, but I'm thinking, looking at it from, from the lake, the width would probably not be much different.
I'm just going to jump in, Mr. Chair. Lauren, I do see a number on the site plan here. The existing Boathouse, the width is 6.8 listed on the drawings here. And then the proposed is 9.75. So it's just under a 2-meter increase. If you can confirm that, Lauren?
Yes, I could confirm that. Thank you.
Okay, so it's about, 2 meters, this much more.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Any other questions?
Oh, good question. Looking at the drawing here. 2 meters.
Len, did you have a question for this
No, I'm
application?
just mumbling here.
Okay.
Sorry.
Then in the absence of any other questions or comments, then I will ask for a mover and seconder, please, to bring this to vote. Moved by Lee. Seconded by Wibb. That the Committee of Adjustment hereby approves variance application A-2024-004-H Cruise to demolish the existing one-story two-slip boathouse and attached dock and to construct a new one-story two-slip boathouse and attached dock on the subject lands. Permissions are required to construct a 9.75 meter by 10.97 meter boathouse as measured from the walls with a 1.6 meter and 1.2 meter upper level deck overhang. The following permissions are required. Section 4.28.1 J, Table 4.4, minimum lot frontage for a boathouse. None permitted. Proposed is a one-story two-slip boathouse, needing permission for a one-story two-slip boathouse. Section 6.3, Table 6.3, Column 2, maximum lot coverage within 60 meters. 8% is permitted, 10.59% is proposed for a variance of 2.59%. Section 4.28.2 D, maximum dock projection 15 meters is permitted, 17.1 meters is proposed for a variance of 2.1 meters. And section 4.28.1 I, maximum boathouse projection 15 meters permitted, 16.38 meters proposed, needing permission for 1.38 meter variance. Subject to the following conditions, the extent of the relief will generally conform to that shown on the sketch plan submitted in the application, and that the owner applies for and obtains the required demolition permits and a building permit for the boathouse and dock within 3 years of the date of decision of the Committee of Adjustment. All in favor? And carried.
Thank you very much, committee, and thank you to staff as well for their work on this application.
The application has been approved. You will get a letter in the next few days notifying you of the decision, and the 20-day appeal period starts now.
Okay. Application C for Robbins. If you could introduce it, please, Madam Secretary.
The purpose of minor variance application A-2024-0005 Robbins is to construct a sauna on the subject lands, and the applicants are requesting a variance for an increase to the lot coverage within 60 meters of the shoreline. No formal correspondence was received.
Thank you. It looks like we have Mr. Wartzman in attendance. If you would like to address the committee.
Very briefly, thank you. I'm appearing as agent for the applicant. Just asking respectfully for the minor variance to be granted for the construction of a sauna. It's a 1% variance, and the staff has recommended that it be granted. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any questions, comments from committee members?
I like where it is.
Len, did you have a question?
No, I just said I like the location of it.
Yes, it's sort of
If I were
nestled
building
in
a
between
sauna.
in between the trees. So then I will call for a mover and seconder, please, to bring this to vote. Moved by Lee, seconded by Wibb. That the Committee of Adjustment hereby approves variance application A-2024-005-H for Robbins to construct a new 23.7 square meter sauna on the subject lands and have requested a variance to the following section of zoning bylaw 2006-125. Bylaw section 6.2, table 6.3, maximum lot coverage within 60 meters of the shoreline. Permitted is 7.5%. Proposed is 8.5% for a variance of 1%. Subject to the following conditions, the extent of the variance will generally conform to that shown on the sketch plan submitted in the application. And number two, that the owner applies for and obtains the required building permit for the new sauna within 3 years of the date of decision of the Committee of Adjustment. All in favor? And carried.
The application has been approved. You will get a letter in the next few days notifying you of the decision, and the 20-day appeal period starts now.
Thank you very much.
All right, under other business, we have, for the first time, I think, well, I'll let the Madam Secretary introduce it, please. Go ahead.
All right, this was an application from 2022 that received committee's approval. A condition of approval required the applicants to obtain a building permit within 2 years of the date of the decision. The applicant has requested a 1-year extension due to unexpected delays.
Thank you, Ashley. So yeah, I think I just noted also before the meeting that the new applications have a 3-year period. So we're basically bringing this into the same time frame. Anyone here to represent this application? I don't think so. Comments from committee? Mover and seconder, please, to bring this forward. Moved by Lee.
How long, much longer will he have then?
It will be one year
1 more year?
extension.
Just 1 year?
Yes.
Okay, let's say that there.
Okay, so moved by Lee, seconded by Webb. Oh, Webb has a question. That was from the original application. That's just a quote from the original application, and they are asking for a 1-year extension. Okay, so Webb is seconded. Moved by Lee, seconded by Webb. Whereas the Committee of Adjustment approved variance application A-2022-0013-H for Ellery on April 13th, 2022, subject to the following condition: that the owner applies for and obtains a building permit within 2 years of the date of decision of the Committee of Adjustment, and whereas the applicant has requested an extension to the above conditions due to unanticipated delays, therefore the Corporation of the Township of Seguin hereby grants an extension to the above condition to be fulfilled no later than April 13th, 2025, which is about a year from now.
Yeah.
All in
Okay.
favor?
Should have seen that.
And carried. Shall I remind or shall you, Ashley? You go ahead.
Okay, and this is just a reminder to submit your expense sheets if you haven't already. Make sure to use the new mileage updates, and that would be for the first quarter, which includes January, February, and March of 2024.
Okay, thank you. Anything else from anyone? Any other business? Okay, none heard. Then I will ask for mover and seconder to adjourn, please. Moved by Glenn, seconded by sorry, still need a seconder.
They want to stay.
Webb. That the Committee of Adjustment for the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby adjourn this hearing at 4:34 p.m. on Wednesday, March the 13th, 2024. The committee will hold its next hearing at 4 p.m. on Wednesday, April the 10th, 2024, or at the call of the chair unless the Secretary Treasurer has not received complete applications for committee consideration. All in favor? And carried. Thanks, everyone.